What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review for Put a Ring on It, season 1, episode 5. Listen, y'all. So we start this episode off where we left off with Michael having to make a decision about whether he wanted to go on a second date with the same young lady that he'd been texting. He wasn't supposed to be texting, and he was like, "Yeah, I really enjoy her. I really felt like we had a connection. So yeah, I want to go out on a second date with her." So then they asked Shay, does she want to go out on a second date with the guy she went out with? And of course, y'all know what Shay said, right? Yeah, I mean, I think that would be nice. Yeah, Now y'all know good and damn well Shay would have never went out on that second date if Michael hadn't said he wanted to go out on the second date, right? So Michael goes. So then, Dr. Nicole says, "I want you guys. We're gonna connect to family this week. Like everybody, not everybody's gonna go out on a second date. Go out on a date. Hollywood didn't go out on a date, and Tamika and Vince did not go out. Did Vince go out on a date? I don't think so. Ashley went out on a date. Michael and Shay. So Michael and Shay had to have the conversation about kids. Listen, Michael, I don't know why you still with her. I don't understand her. She was very clear that she has no interest in getting to know your child, connecting to your child, trying to be a part of your child's life. She's not interested in being stepmommy. She's not interested in being none of that. She even had the nerve to say, well, I can't connect to him because he's not mine. Why would you bring somebody like that into your son's life? She is telling you she has absolutely no intention on even trying to bond with your son. When somebody says, I can't connect to him because he's not mine. So then she was like, well, I'm really just not open to the idea of your son living with us. And what does that mean for us? And Michael was like, oh, well, that's a non-negotiable. We're going to have to break up. He was like, if we can't come to some sort of understanding about my son, then that's a problem. Like, I'm going to have to really reevaluate and make some hard decisions. He was like, my son comes first. Like, my son comes before me. So I don't even understand this. Now, what he said was that this was the first time him and Shay were living together when he had his son with him. Before that, I guess they were just dating and the son stayed with him, and then he just navigated around his son being in town or being with him and him and Shay spending time together or whatever. So that was interesting. Anyway, so he ends up going out on the second date. And they have a nice date. And he tells her, he was like, listen, I sort of crossed the line with the whole texting thing. Me and Shay had put certain parameters in place. And I went too far. So we're going to have to stop texting each other. But then he says he's interested in seeing her again. And she was like, well, I don't know how you're going to do that if me and you can't. Because she was talking about Halloween and what her Halloween costume was going to be and this, that, and the other. And he got a little flirty, and she was like, see, you're going to get yourself in trouble. Like, because she talking about she was going to do the whole Catwoman thing with the bodysuit and the whip and all of that, and the stiletto boots and stuff like that. And she was like, well, I mean, I guess I'll just put the pictures on Instagram. He was like, she said, I mean, if that's not a violation, he's talking about something, nah, I think that's okay. I said, see, that's how he going to get around the whole texting thing. Is now they're gonna follow each other on Instagram and they're gonna be DMing each other. Well, hell, you might as well be texting her if that's what you're gonna be doing. I mean, come on, like, you might as well be texting her, child. So then, but they had a nice date, but that's what that is. He likes her, she likes him. They were flirty. Yeah, okay. Then Ashley goes out on her date. Now, Ashley's guy seems cool. He's very cute. He's from Chicago. He's got 2 sons. Hollywood was better this time around. He wasn't as nasty and rude to the guy. When the guy came in or whatever, he wasn't as rude to him and all that stuff. So the guy bought flowers. He told me something. Hey, babe, I got you some flowers. He did tell that man that he couldn't walk in his apartment without putting some booties on his shoes. And they had them by the door, which means that that's something they do for everybody that come in their house, okay? Like, you can't come up on my carpet with them shoes on, bruh. I don't blame you. I don't blame you, Hollywood. It ain't no fun getting them carpets clean. You know, if you can cut down on how often you gotta get them carpets clean, listen, I ain't mad at you. But he even offered the guy some water. You know, Ashley came out, and you know they went out on a really nice date. They had a good conversation, a good dialogue. Ashley seems like it's funny because I always feel like Ashley is starting to connect with these guys. You know what I'm saying? And they go on the cutest dates. They went on a date with they went to this place where they planted a flower. Or they created a flower. So I mean, a plant or something. It was cute. Oh, it looked like a nice first date because it's something you guys are doing an activity, but there's an opportunity to talk. Like I hate movie dates as a first date. There's nothing you could do with the movie date. You know what I'm saying? As a first date, you ain't talking to each other. You know what I'm saying? And then if you do go out to dinner after the movie, you probably spend most of the time talking about the movie and not so much time talking about each other. But whatever. But it was a cute date, you know. Ashley was attracted to him, but at the end of it, she said, "You know what? I found myself missing Hollywood. I found myself thinking about Hollywood, so you know, ain't no big love connection." And Hollywood, even though he sort of was in his feelings a little bit, he wasn't as bad as he was the first time. Like he really wasn't. He really was, you know, a lot better than he was. Now Tamika had to go talk to her family, right? That was her assignment from Dr. Nicole was to go and, you know, talk to her family about the relationships and things like that. And Tamika has the same issue that I have. Tamika has two parents who've been together forever. My parents have been married 55 years. Her parents have been married 40 something years. And when you grow up seeing a working marriage, your parents tend to give you the impression that it was easy. Like, yeah, this is what we did. You know, I know in my parents' case, like they didn't argue in front of us. They didn't do a whole lot of fighting in front of us. So I didn't grow up seeing my parents do a whole lot of that. And so, you know, it's not perfect because no marriage is perfect, but you don't see it so much. And Tamika said, you know, I found myself wanting Vince to do the things that I grew up seeing my parents do, not understanding that, you know, this was 20, 30 years in the making as I was a kid growing up. Like there were foundations laid. There was a lot already there. And I saw what they allowed me to see. I didn't see the struggles. I didn't see the fights and the arguments so much. So then she's talking to her parents about, you know, them maybe getting married or whatever. And her father was like, yeah, so listen, I wasn't really feeling Vince before. Like my first time meeting him, I wasn't feeling him. Then you told me that he cheated on you, and I really wasn't feeling him. So if you're talking about now that y'all talking about getting married, me and him gonna have to have a serious conversation. Serious conversation. Now Tamika somehow heard, you know, my parents like you, Vince. They, you know, they think you're kind of cool. I mean, my dad said if you were thinking about marriage, that y'all would have to talk. You really made that sound really pretty. I mean, that's a little bit of what he had said. But you really made that sound a lot prettier than it was, girl. You know you made that sound nicer than it was. Anyway. So, Tamika, listen. This just ain't the right one. He's just not. It's not the one. So then Shay goes on her date. And Shay only went on that date to get back at Michael. And she did everything on that date that Michael did on his date. She got the man's phone number. She flirted with the man. She almost kissed the man. She ain't a bit more interested in that man than the man in the moon. She's trying to make Michael jealous. And Michael, like, he's feeling it a little bit, but not the way you want it. Like, you want a reaction, but it's probably not going to be the reaction you really want to get. Excuse me. So everybody comes back, you know, for their group session with Dr. Nicole. And Ashley says that she's not, you know, she enjoyed her date, but she ain't really interested in going out on another day. I already told y'all that. Tamika came back to the group and, you know, said what I already told y'all about the relationship with her parents and their marriage and everything. And her and Vince got to talking, and, you know, she said that she really would like for the communication to improve. And he was like, but the thing is, she said, you know, I asked him, how was your day? And she says, fine. And he'll say, fine. What'd you eat for lunch? Food. But what he hears is, who'd you go to lunch with? Did you cheat on me today? How was your day? Did you go on any secret dates? And Dr. Nicole was like, see, you have to say what you mean and mean what you say. Like, if you're asking him because you really genuinely want to know how his day was, that's one thing. But if you're asking him because you are suspecting and you are feeling like what's going on, that something else is going on. And she said, you have to be honest in your intentions. And he was like, but I feel like every time, we'll be good for a couple of months and then something will happen and we'll be right back in that same place. We'll be right back in that same place. And she was like, but you have to allow her that space to speak her truth. I mean, that's her truth. If that's how she feels, that's how she feels. But y'all have to figure out a way to move past it. Like, y'all do have to figure out a way to get out of this, right? This is how they get out of it. They break up. But that's not going to happen anyway. So, then we get to Michael and Shay. And Shay lets it be known that she got the man's phone number. Shay lets it be known that she wanted that they almost kissed. She's trying to get a response out of Michael. And Dr. Nicole and the rest of the group are telling her, girl, like, you trying to make this man jealous. You trying to get a response. But see, the problem is, like I keep saying, you going to get the wrong response. Or you going to get the response you ain't looking for. Okay. Look. Then they got on the conversation about kids. About the son. Michael, why are you still with this woman? She has been very clear that she has absolutely no intention on trying to love your son. She said he ain't mine. She said she doesn't have a connection to him. She doesn't know if she will connect to him. She even had the nerve, and listen, you done said something when not only does the whole group react, but when the doctor come out of character. Dr. Nicole even had to be like, what? She said, well, when he comes down to visit, they can spend time together. I mean, they can go stay at an Airbnb or something. So his son not even welcome in your house? Like, that's what you're saying right now? That you are so disinterested and disconnected from having a friendship relationship with this child. He can't even stay in y'all's house. They gotta go to an Airbnb when he comes to visit. Wow. You're not interested in him living with y'all? Michael says that they've had this conversation multiple times. It's not the first time they've talked about it. She knows his intention. Dr. Nicole says, well, let me ask you a question. If y'all weren't together, would your son already be with you? And Michael said, probably. Girl. Dr. Nicole says, who do you think you're marrying? Like, you want him to marry you. You are begging this man to marry you. Who do you... Well, she didn't say the begging part. I said the begging part. Who do you think you are marrying? And she's going to say, well, him and his son, I guess. You guess? This man's son was there before y'all even started dating. I don't understand how y'all got through 6 years. You have no intention of welcoming his son into y'all's life. First of all, that sounds very selfish. But like I said last week, it's okay if you're not interested in having children in your life. That is fine. Then you should not date men with children. And he clearly had a child when y'all started dating. Before you ghosted him the first time, the second time, or the third time. Before he left and moved to DC and was about to marry another woman. Through all of that, he had a child. When you got back with this man, you knew he had a child. When you moved in with him, you knew he had a child. And he said that he's been clear that his intention is for his child to live with him. You wrong. You out of order. To quote Ayanna Van Zandt, you're out of order. You are out of order, Shay. And Michael said that that's a non-negotiable, and that if she's not going to come around to accepting him and his son, then he's going to have to make some hard decisions, and they're going to probably have to break up. And I'm thinking to myself, the writing is on the wall, bruh. I don't know what else you need to know. If she ain't changed her mind in all this time, what make you think she gonna change her mind now? This show gonna make her change her mind? I doubt it. Anyway, child, we'll see what happens next week. That's all I got. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.